Hi everyone, and thank you for purchasing the split screens Shopify section by qwiqode. In this video, I'll be showing you how to actually use it. So if you haven't installed it yet, please refer to the separate video included in the package, and you also have access to a PDF with some instructions if it makes it easier. So to get started, go to the theme editor, navigate to the page where you want to add this specific section. On the left-hand side, click on Add Section. You can either scroll and search for that section starting with QQ, or search for it in here. We'll just scroll down and choose Split Screen. And we have, and then it appears with the default section, with the default content inside. On the left-hand side, we have the different blocks that go into the section. And on the right side, for each one that's selected, we have different settings that you can adjust. We'll start with the content first, and then we can go back into adjusting all sorts of other settings. Here, clicking on image, it's basically this image here. We can go in and select a different image that we'd like to appear. We can use the original dimensions of the image. In this case, it's a landscape. We can choose to have it appear square, or we can choose banner, which makes it much thinner and wider. But in our case, let's just keep it at square for now. It does the cropping based on the screen size and the image itself. If you have a square image, it would be better to put it in if that's what you want it to do. Moving on, you can select the position of the image. You can choose to have it appear to the left side of the text or to the right side. And on mobile, when you go up here and you click on mobile, you can select to have it appear above the text or below the text block, or you could just have it hidden if you don't want to have an image on mobile, since it would just lead to more scrolling. So let's go back to the desktop version. Moving on, we have a section title that we can add, that we can edit. We have putting in the text up here. We can select the type of element. This is for SEO purposes, and also for styling. If your theme already has set styling for different types of titles, you can select it here, and it will already grab the default styling. Usually, if this is a hero image and it's going to be at the very top of the page as a page title, it's recommended to use H1, as you usually only have H1 once in a page, and it's the most important in terms of search engines. Otherwise, I would suggest using H2. If you want to set a different font than the default settings on your theme, you can click Custom Font and choose a font from the list below. We'll just keep it right now on the default. You can change its color. You could change its font size, line height, and letter spacing. If the values are 0, it'll be using the default settings. Or if you want to enlarge it, you could just drag and drop the slider over here, and you can get different types, different size. You can do different letter spacing and so on. The same values for mobile version, since we might want different sizes for that, so we can select that here. We have margins, margin top and margin bottom, if we want more space between the title and the element that's below. In this case, it's the text block. We could just add in some more margins, and it gives us more space over there, like so, and the same thing for mobile. We can also add in a subtitle, which have the same settings as the title itself, but you could take that and you can drag it up to the top and then go in. The default is an H3. You can choose whatever you'd like. You could make it even smaller, like so, and so on. And the same, like I said, the same other settings like in the title. Moving on, text block, we have the text area where you can add in your text description of this section. You can create bold fonts, you could italic, or give add links to it. And the rest is the same as explained before. We select the buttons. Here you can add in button label. Let's call it read more, for instance. We can use the same default as the regular buttons. You also have an option if you know the class, the CSS class, if you have a little technical knowledge, you know the CSS class for the buttons in the rest of your theme, you can add it here and it'll take effect. Otherwise, you can go in and customize them yourself. You can adjust the width size of it. You can adjust horizontal and vertical padding if you'd like it to be more padding, like so. Then you can add in a border radius for the button. Let's say we want a button like that. Margins, sets the margin for the top and the bottom, like so. Same goes for mobile versions. Font size, if it's at 0, it'll use the default, and if you adjust it like so, then you can make them smaller. Let's also lower the vertical padding just a bit, like that. And button colors, we can change the buttons to be like that. Then for the second button, sometimes you want another button, sometimes you don't. You can remove the button entirely by just removing the label. But just for this explanation, we can choose to keep it. We can say, let's say, more information, like that. And then we can style the button, and let's say we want to style this a little bit differently. We want to have the same border radius. I don't remember if it was 20 or more. We could do that. But then instead of having it a full color, scroll down here, and we can select a border color. Let's make the border color dark color, the text color a dark color, no background, like so. And then just to set the border width, we'd scroll back up here and we have border width. We do something like that. And then you can of course set the hover covers as well, settings as well, so that you can change the color, or you could just have the border change, and so on. Now, if you'd like, you could also drag and drop the order. So if you'd like it to be like so, or have the button at the very top for whatever reason, you can do that as well. Last part, we have a few more options. If you click on the very general, the very top section, exactly on split screen, we have some more things that we can change. Full width, the width of the section, you can change it to full width. So regular is usually within the constraints of the theme for the content, leaving empty space on the right and left, but you could also choose full width, which extends it to the very edges of the screen. This is usually good for a home page, but for like a hero image at the very top, but you could do that for different reasons in different areas of the site. We could also select a different background color. Margin top, margin bottom is the space above and below the section. If you want to give additional space between the preceding or the sections that come afterwards, you can do that. Padding, you can also set for give padding on the sides. Not as needed if you're talking about a full width section. So we can keep that at 0. But scrolling down, we have the same sections for the settings for the mobile. Moving on down, text area styling. So if we want some more space between here, we want to set the text to be center aligned, more horizontal padding, like that. If we want it back on the left to see the effect of adding more padding to the left and to the right, to get to center it. Same goes for the mobile. We could play around with having different alignments and padding for mobile version. And one more thing about buttons, we can change the space between the buttons by enlarging this or lowering it, or we can have them appear really side by side or have them stack like so. So you can have a minor button and then maybe remove the border. I can show you that really quickly if we go down to the second bottom and then we just, go to border width of the second button and just remove it. We could do something like that, and so on. So that's it. Thank you again, and we hope that this section helps you achieve your website goals.